Chick-fil-A side then misaligns the drive aisle. And so I was just wanted to ask if there were any comments from the committee on whether it's a possibility to accommodate landscaping on another part of the site so that that drive aisle remains. Not sure if it's a legal nonconformity. I guess that's a question for zoning. But just from a design perspective, I did want to raise that so that the committee had an opportunity to review that piece.
Hi, Avery. I can respond to that. This is Stephen again. I think it's ultimately a question we're going to have to run by safety and permits. There's a provision in Article 23 that speaks to modifications to existing parking lots. And so, I think the question here is whether we view the Chick-fil-A as entirely new construction or modification of something that exists. I think that provision in Article 23 will apply and will be determinative of some of the landscape requirements. So we'll certainly talk to safety and permits about that as part of issuing our staff report. You're more than welcome to get the ball rolling by requesting that. And if you do so, please copy Sabine, who's handling this, and me, just so we're all on the same page.
Got it. Thank you.
All righty. So Avery, was that the end of your presentation, and did anyone else from the team want to comment? Okay, so does the committee have any comments that they want to make before we move to the next item?
Can you go to the elevations? Not the, yeah, those. This, it says left side elevation. Which side is that? The side facing the Chick-fil-A?
Yes, yes, it is.
Is there, I mean, I know there's windows on the other ones. Is there, because this is a four-sided building, is there a reason to have windows on that side? Is that part of the code requirement?
Hey, Danny, I think that it's designed such that the side facing the Chick-fil-A does not have windows, and that's essentially the rear of the structure, and the other three sides will.
Well, let me speak to that. Most of that left side is LA Nails. So they don't have any windows. That was a demising wall, and punching windows in there may, impact their space. Now, the new space that's behind it, we probably will put a door and maybe some windows on the, say, the third of that wall that's furthest to the left. We probably will add some glazing there. Just haven't finalized anything yet.
That would be my recommendation, is at least to have some eyes on that side of the building, and to be able to make it look like it's not just this big blank wall facing the Chick-fil-A side of the building.
Okay. Thank you for that comment, Danny. Do we have any other comments from the committee members? Okay. All right. If not, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can just say that it seems that there's a lot of attention to the site design, and I appreciate being able to see the walkways and things like that. I guess I'm curious about because it's a bit confusing to see the scope of the project change. And so it seems like LA Nails and T-Mobile are separate. And I guess because my main comment is about the unified site design, right? We're introducing vehicular traffic where there was previously a pedestrian walkway along the building. The Chick-fil-A is distinct from the other buildings, and I'm just worried about that kind of cohesion, in addition, obviously, to the landscaping that's been brought up before.
Who's Joseph? Is this your project? Are you the Plan
Thankfully,
review?
it is not, no.
Sabine?
So Sabine's handling this, Danny.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So Sabine's handling both the Chick-fil-A and the LA Nails T-Mobile building.
Yeah. From the CPC's perspective, it's all one project, even though it's, separate,
Okay.
related.
Because basically, just maybe I'm reiterating what Joseph said, but basically, this really does need to be treated as one cohesive site, and the landscape and pedestrian passage really needs to address that, which we discussed at the last meeting. So,
Yeah,
please make sure Sabine looks at it that way.
yeah, because I don't think the existing structures warrant any kind of preservation, and I think the design of the LA Nails and other structures are well, and I'm wondering if there was, projects that come to the DAC would always benefit from, traffic and site planning diagrams that help us understand why we got to this project. Because, for example, if there was a way that the drive-through could have been integrated where it didn't disrupt the pedestrian site, right? And so that's the things where the committee would be looking at. And so if this is the final iteration and what will be moved forward with, I think at the bare minimum, having a pedestrian pathway that's, as shown, crossing the streets, also crossing within the site would be essential.
This is Todd Rogers. I'm the engineer for Chick-fil-A. We will plan on putting pedestrian access between LA Nails and the Chick-fil-A, like you're saying. And there's an existing sidewalk that comes, I guess, at the access to the development there. There's a sidewalk, there's a public sidewalk, and there's a connection in that landscape island. And we'll put a crosswalk to the front patio from there as well.
And we also need,
concern.
we're also going to need a connection on the other side to the Walgreens to restore.
Yeah, I know Chick-fil-A was concerned about that because that would put pedestrians crossing both the exit of the double drive-through lane for Chick-fil-A and the main entrance to the development. I was wondering if we could consider pedestrian access by going back to the public sidewalk where it crosses the entrance drive and then in front of Walgreens. I'm not sure if there's a pedestrian access to Walgreens with the public.
You're removing the sidewalk connection to Walgreens from the street when you do this, So
Excuse me?
There's already a sidewalk connection to Walgreens across that site, but that also has a connection on the say on the east side of that driveway, of that common driveway. There's basically a sidewalk that goes up, so you would walk across there kind of toward your exit driveway and then cross to Walgreens. So, that circulation needs to be maintained. The whole corridor should be maintained, part of the site. I understand that you want to put this roadside model in the middle of the shopping center, but you still gotta maintain the pedestrian access through there.
Yeah, we're not rehashing the go around we have with Chick-fil-A, but just to reiterate what Lewis said, that strong pedestrian passageway all the way along this route from the Walgreens all the way through this shopping center, that needs to be maintained. The conditions there, it's not something new and different. If y'all need to adjust where your Chick-fil-A is, then you got to scooch it back and maybe get rid of some of that parking in the back or work on that somehow. But that was one of the conditions that we talked about last week or the last meeting. And this is not the time to redesign the Chick-fil-A part of it, but you've got to maintain that. That was one of our very strong issues before. So
Okay, I see the pavers on Google Street View coming from Walgreens across. So we'll see what we can do there to keep that established.
And if Sabine's not on the call, I will be sure. Sabine, okay, you are present. we'll be sure to incorporate that into our staff report as one of the recommendations that was mentioned. All righty, are there any other comments before we move on? Okay, thank you, everyone. The third item is the reconsideration of design review docket 15320 for a property located at 5212 Elysian Fields Avenue. We have Louis Kung and Wayne Lee signed up to speak on behalf of the application, and Joanna is the CPC staff member assigned to this case. As a reminder, following staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present. Joanna, would you like to go over the changes?
Sure. Change is that they moved the primary entrance from the parking lot to face Elysian Fields, which was a requirement for this site. There's also added landscaping, and I've been in touch with the applicant about additional landscaping that they'll need on the interior of the parking lot. And I guess you're not seeing the landscaping in this view, but they definitely have it. Yeah, there you go. The parking lot landscaping requirements say that there must be 10% of the interior landscaping. 10% of the parking lot must be landscaped. So that still needs to be added. But I think the real primary change is that shift of the entrance from the last time this committee saw this.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. Louis, would you like to go over it?
You mean the architect, Louis?
Yes.
Oh, I think Joanna.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let me see. This is the landscape plan. Actually, it's one unit. This is an old plan that's showing 2 units in the building. That wall in the center is gone inside the building. So if you look at the new plan, yeah, that is it. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So if you don't have anything else to add, do any of the committee members have any comments?
Yeah, I have a question. We were told at the beginning of this process, and I appreciate the changes that were made because I think it meets at least the front of it now looks like what we were kind of expecting. But click on the side elevation. Will you go to the next one, Joseph? So this is the elevation we're seeing, which this is 2 different spaces.
Okay, this is the old drawing. The paint company, when they do the coloring, they make a mistake using the old drawing. Can you see this one? It's sheet number 3. Can you look at this? Sheet number 3, the black and white, the one that we did from our office. Yeah, this is the update drawing. There's no sign there. Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, Louis. The 2 entries are still there. If this is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So here's my question. We were told that this building was to replace the restaurant, and that was why we made the accommodations for the driveway being placed where it is and where
there's
kind of the landscape.
I'm sorry. There's no replacement of restaurant. This is a vacant lot. I mean, the building is sitting on a vacant lot. The restaurant is not being replaced. There were no restaurant there before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this whole thing needs to flip because you're still going to kill that public street tree. And that was what we were told before. And I need to look at it myself, I guess.
Excuse me. I don't understand.
So
the parking lot is a parking lot. Right now is a parking lot. The parking lot. Okay. And the land where the parking lot is sitting on right now is a parking lot. The building is sitting on a vacant lot. And basically, the whole land there's no building there. It's just a vacant lot, the whole thing there. But on the right side, right now it was paved for parking. And the left side where the building is just a vacant lot.
So
Danny, you may be thinking of the sushi restaurant across the street.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's
That was,
it's a very similar design, but that's across the street, and this is next to the Chinese Tea Garden restaurant
That's what
on
no,
the other
I'm
side.
thinking of Chinese tea cart. So why is
Okay.
it that the parking lot has to be on the right-hand side? Why can't this be mirrored and so that you can avoid all of these complications with this tree? The public
I
street tree. It's a very large public street tree, and I don't understand why we went forward with that. if
Wait,
that's
can I
the
ask
case.
a question? Because is the adjacent site, the Chinese Tea Garden, is that also abutting this parking lot?
Mhm.
is on the right side, there is a small strip. There's a little strip mall
Mhm.
with the Chinese Tea Garden, probably about 3 or 4 units. Right. Okay. Okay. These parking are being shared by the 2 buildings. So if we put the building next to the other shopping center, I mean, this parking is just so far away. Number one. Number one is more convenient. Number two, if you put the 2 buildings together, separated by a little aisle, a little space between that, you are just encouraging crime. You have a narrow.
That's not my point, Louis. I mean, I understand what you're saying. There's ways to deter that. I mean, you can put a gate up. That's the point we were told was you couldn't take out that parking for, is it China Garden? Is that the name of the restaurant?
Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese Tea Garden. Yeah.
Chinese Tea Garden. You couldn't take out that parking because you had to have that parking. So you were going to build the building first, and then you were going to redo the parking lot. And that was the reason for the building that had to be on the left-hand side.
Not really. No. That's not the reason.
That's what we were told in
Wait,
this
who-
meeting before. We were told that the building had to go on the left-hand side.
Oh, I wasn't there.
I know
I
you
wasn't
weren't
there
there.
last week.
I know you weren't there. That's what I'm saying. It's not you, but that's what we were told. And now all we're
Oh,
doing
that was a different project. That was
you were
sushi
told
restaurant.
this project because we have got a huge live oak and right there by the sign, the illegal sign that's in the public right of way for Chinese Tea Garden. So there's a sign that's in the public right of way, number one, which is a safety and permits issue, not mine. But and then we accommodated this change in the driveway and shifting over and impacting the critical root zone of this tree when all of this could have been resolved by you flipping the site plan.
Wait, that was the other project. The other project have a big live oak in front of it.
I'll pull my emails. I have emails on this one. On
Okay, sure.
this project.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask, is looking at the street view, it looks like there's a driveway there already.
There is.
Yes. Correct.
And
So, I mean,
being
is this-
widened. It's the point, Lewis, was the plan here shows a much wider 32-foot driveway, which brings it right up to the roots of, almost to the trunk of this tree.
We can move the driveway over a little bit if you want. We can move it all the little bit over to the left.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I see what you're getting at.
And so just to confirm, there's a building right here, right?
Yes. Over
Okay.
on the right side. Yes.
I have a hard time with this. I do appreciate the architecture being addressed, but I'm still having a really hard time understanding why the site plan can't be flipped. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I just, the more I look at it, the more upset it makes me in terms of we're trying our best to keep public street trees from being damaged. And here we are continuing to move forward on a plan that doesn't help at all. It's not helping the situation. So, and I'm not trying to unload on you, Louis. None of this is personal. It's just,
Yeah, no, I'm
question
trying
why-
to, I'm kind of trying to look at it and see if there's a way to use the existing to kind of keep it to be like 2 driveways on either side of the tree, somehow like using the tea garden, the existing tea garden driveway, or kind of part of that parking lot as like an entrance or exit or something.
So Lewis Hayward, you're talking about this driveway here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that would kind of become like an exit, and the other one could be like an entrance. So it's kind of all like sort of the common parking area. I don't know. Well, I don't know what the future plans for that strip mall are.
Well, doesn't it depend on who owns which? Is this parcel owned by the same people who own the shopping center?
Yes, yeah, same owner.
Then this really doesn't make sense to me to have a separate building.
Yeah, if I could just add, it seems like what the coalition, the committee is driving at, pun intended, is that there are two existing driveways, and there is a way to make each one a one-way driveway, one in, one out, and get a servitude agreement between these two lots, so that there's a functional vehicular traffic circulation that is protecting the safety of the public right-of-way, circulation around the site, and the existing landscaping that is both on and around the site. And I don't know what motion the committee will ultimately make, but I think understanding the site context a little more, that would inform the move we make, or the recommendation we make. Again, everything we recommend is ultimately to the discretion of the executive director, but that would affect things, in my opinion. The only other comment I wanted to add is that this is my typical comment about don't be afraid to embrace color. It's a very beige standard Americana color scheme, and I don't think that reflects the true vibrancy of our city's heritage. Other than that, I'll give it back to any other of my committee members if they have any other comments.
Yeah, I also just want to mention, it looks like based on where the driveway, well, let me just make this short. We're not showing the utility pole that's there against the curb. So there's a utility pole with a guy wire. So I would like to see or show how that's part of this site. I'm a little worried I don't know where it is, honestly. But it's right in the middle of that site. So I'm thinking it could be right on top of that concrete walkway extension in the middle of the site. Who knows? Maybe it's right next to the proposed driveway.
Oh, yep. We need to look at the survey and locate it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, so what should we do? Should we split the driveway that go around the tree? Is that what is recommended?
Yeah, Louis, we're gonna go into we're gonna review all the projects, the cases, take a 5-minute recess, and then make a motion. And so when we come back to that motion period, that's when we'll give you clear direction on the committee's recommendation on site design.
Located at 10008 North Peters Street. This is a request by French Market Corporation for improvements to a waste and refuse area in a VCC1 Vieux Carré commercial district on a site. Well, this docket requires DAC review because it is a public project. We have Brandon Adams signed up to speak on behalf of the application, and he now has 5 minutes to present the project.
Yes. The main purposes of the way this project got started was because they needed a replacement of the grease trap. And so we started looking at the project in terms of discussing some other things about the dumpster area that needed to be looked at. One was that there's the front gates, there's a double gate, 16-foot wide double gate that are damaged, and also the part of the existing brick wall is also damaged. And the way that it is now with two 16-foot double gates is those double gates stay open. So so the vendors can come in and out to dump their trash. So what we looked at is adding a pedestrian gate so that we can keep the double gates closed and have a pedestrian gate that opens and closes so that you visually from the street, you're not looking into a dumpster area. So basically what we're doing is reconstructing everything to match existing. The gates will match the existing, which are steel gates with a metal plate in the back painted black. This gate also occurs in the direction towards between the dumpster area and the Fish Market Corporation building. There's a small parking lot. There's the Fish Market Corporation parking lot that's also has the exact same gate design. So all the gates for this area and the gate for the small parking lot were all matched. And so the walls are being reconstructed to match existing. The same pillars will be there. Also, the bollards will be replaced and the bollards will be more decorative. The bollards will match bollards that we had installed for the for Moonwalk. They're basically the same diameter, but have a dome, a little bit more decorative, nicer looking. Also, one of the issues that we looked at too was that we have to reconstruct the curbs, the drop curbs at the street, but we also need to comply with the Department of Public Works standard detail that allows for ADA accessibility through the drive. So you have a slope and you have a 2% maximum slope, cross slope or ADA accessibility, a 4-foot wide area that goes through the drive. So those are the things basically from the exterior, and some of the things we're doing in the interior. We're adding a hot water heater, a tankless hot water heater, a new drain, new paving throughout the interior inside where the dumpster will go. Right now, the paving is in very bad condition. It's broken up and just needs to be replaced. And that had to be replaced with the 8-inch thick concrete that we had a structural engineer take a look at it, Morphy Mikowski, look at in terms of giving the structural requirement needed for that to hold the weight of the dumpster. Also, the gate system will be, the pedestrian gate will be on an electronic gate system that will allow, they'll have a code system, a card system that the employees and the people that need to access the gate, so that you can't have someone just off the street walk into this area. They would have to have permission and access to be able to do that. I think that's pretty much it in terms of the scope of work. We have some electrical work. We have to relocate the interior light, area light inside of it because we're reconstructing that wall. Mechanical work in terms of relocating. You can see there's a manhole, and that's relocating the drain itself to give all the water is contained within the site. It doesn't flow off the side.
Okay.
We really don't have any other. That's about it.
Thank you, Brandon, for the presentation. Do any of the committee members have any comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. The next item is also requiring DAC review because it's a public project. This is going to be renovations to the site at Lusher High School located at 5624 Frett Street. The track around the back of the property will be widened. They're adding field lights and bleachers and other site accessories. We have Matt Norton and Paul Lucius signed up to speak on behalf of the application, and they now have 5 minutes to present the project.
Yeah, this is Matt Norton, SCNZ Architects. This project basically involves expansion and improvements to the athletic fields at Lusher High School and Middle School. As you know, Lusher currently occupies the 4-story U-shaped building facing Ferret Street. The other smaller building on the other side of the block, the old Allen Elementary School, has been vacated by Sci-Hi, which has moved into their new campus, and Lusher will be taking over that building to move their middle school into. There's currently a fence between those two schools, but the entire block is one lot of record owned by the OPSB. So the project basically involves the conversion of the football field and expansion of it using an AstroTurf system, expanding it enough to allow multiple sports to be played on the field. So there'll be football, soccer, lacrosse, and it will also allow for the first time for them to incorporate a baseball field there in the lower left-hand corner. Basically, the capacity of the bleachers, the capacity of the spectators will stay the same. We'll be moving the visitor aluminum bleachers closer to Allen School to allow for the expansion. We'll be moving some of the sections, though, from the visitors over to the home side on the right-hand side, but the total spectator capacity will remain the same. Down in the baseball area in the lower left-hand corner, you can see we're adding 2 dugouts, each with a 1-hole restroom, as well as a small bleacher covered bleacher area. Fairly small. It's only about accommodates about 60 people in that bleacher area. We'll also be adding 2 batting cage areas. You see what we'll have to reposition one of the chillers for the Allen School to make way for the new track. So the track is, of course, being stretched so it remains around the perimeter of the AstroTurf sports field area. We'll also be creating a paver stone, somewhat permeable plaza entry that you see in the upper right-hand corner that opens onto Nashville. That is currently the way spectators enter the field for games. So it's not really changing in terms of the entry and the way students and visitors enter the field. It's just an expanded area with some benches and, as I said, out of paver stone. We'll be maintaining 2 of the lighting masts on the right-hand side of the field. But of course, on the left-hand side of the field, we'll have to put in new masts, moving it closer to the Allen School. The current masts are at 70 feet tall, which I realize is higher than the 60 feet allowed. But basically, we were hoping that we'd be grandfathered in with those 2 masts and be able to put the 2 new masts at 70 feet so the lighting can be balanced on each side of the field. We do have some signage entering into the plaza from the Nashville side, which is has kind of cut out steel letters in an arc or an arch over the entry to imitate the entry on the front side of Lusher facing Ferret. So it's kind of playing off that. Let me see. Of course, there's a stormwater management plan for the entire lot that's been submitted and is currently being reviewed. I think that's it. If you have any questions.
I don't have a question, but I do, part of my recommendation when we get to the voting part, you haven't shown on your plans, you haven't shown the public street trees And we need to see a tree protection plan, and you should include those public street trees on your planning because your construction crew is going to have to avoid those trees.
To get around them. Okay.
Yeah. That includes canopy as well as roots. They can't be parking on them, things like that. Okay.
So both on Nashville and Joseph show the any street. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that this, seems like a very exciting project. I will say, so it sounds like you're saying that the visitor capacity won't change, but since it's such a comprehensive set of site improvements, it will feel like new, right, to the community and students and families. And so I'm just, the first question I have is, what's the anticipated like traffic impact and circulation both within and around the site, especially for games that would be happening here? Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, basically, like I was saying, the spectator capacity is the same as it is now. So basically, they'll all be entering through that Nashville gateway. So we don't anticipate any increase in the current traffic that they have for games on Friday nights. There will be, of course, now baseball games there. But that's, a fairly limited amount of people that will be coming to that. It's nowhere near the amount of people coming for the football games. So we're talking about maybe 100 to 150 people tops for the baseball games.
Yeah, and so I guess as part of my questioning here is, has bike parking been incorporated into this project?
Let me see. No, we do not have bike parking at the thing, but that's something we could definitely add
Right.
at the end of the plaza there. Yeah.
Yeah, because if, I don't know about the operation because I'm assuming the gate would be closed, but on game days it would be open. And so I think there's definitely a way it can be incorporated into the strategy. And just for our benefit, what kind of permeable paving are you envisioning in this plaza?
It'll be the kind of interlocking pavers where it leaves enough room for some pea gravel between them to allow permeability. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like no more committee comments. Thank you, Matt, for the presentation. We'll now move on to the 6th item on the agenda, design review docket 00721 for a property located at 221 Fillmore Avenue. We have Scott Welty signed up to speak on behalf of the application, and Valerie is the CPC staff member assigned to the case. Following Valerie's presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present. Valerie, are you on the call? Okay, since I don't hear Valerie, I'll just give a brief overview. This is a request for the new construction of a grocery store in an SRS suburban single-family residential district. And it's also located within an EC Enhancement Corridor Design Overlay District. Scott, now you have 5 minutes to present.
Yes, hi. So this is Scott Welty here. And I guess the main thing to start off with is that per the ordinance that was passed in 2019, the project was changed from a single family to a B2 zone. So that's the main thing that I wanted to point out, is that it's not the single family zone here. But moving on, from that, it's basically a small scale like grocery store, and we have tried to use the corner lot and face the like the main door to the front street at Fillmore, and to put the parking at that left-hand side. And we do have a mixture of the concrete at the middle zone and the pervious like concrete at the parking spaces. And we are trying to keep a few of the large, like the oak trees right in the parking lot. Which we're trying to do as much as we can to preserve those and going like around those with the landscaping and the parking design. As part of the square footage of the existing, of the new project, we would be beyond the parking capacity of the existing lot, and that's why he has a contract to purchase the rear lot, and that would just be for parking, and there's no structure there. That's the parking lot B there. So the main lot is that bottom section, and then there's that top lot, which is just for parking. We do have the presentation, and we do have the signage that we're proposing, which you can see at that screen there. We have renderings on the next sheet so that you can get a better feeling of the project. So on 14 there. So that's the top left is the parking lot side, and the Fillmore side is the top right. And the corner is that the bottom left. So that's a quick summary of the project, and just wanted to know if y'all had questions.
Are we considering the rear parking lot or just this the current site?
From my end, from the design teams or the applications end?
At this time, it's likely that we would include a proviso that they provide additional parking and have a some sort of agreement to allow parking on the rear site. It sounds like it would be purchased, but that's not necessary for our proviso. But so for this review, let's just look at the site. That does not include the rear parking.
I have a couple of questions. One, you're showing stormwater management. You're showing some stormwater management features in the public right-of-way. Are those to meet your stormwater requirements?
I believe that they are. We also have like Batcher on the call here, which I'm not sure if like they can talk more in specific to the stormwater design.
Yeah, Scott, I can answer that question. Danny, we excluded the storage produced by the stormwater facilities in the right-of-way from our calculations. So any part of those bioretention cells that extend past the property boundary is just considered bonus.
Okay, because you can do that in the public right-of-way, given the way the sidewalk's set up, but it can't count towards your requirements.
Right, understood.
All right, so DPW is going to want that's basically all the sidewalks need to be brought up to good condition. It doesn't look like that Fillmore sidewalks quite right now. So we would want that reconstructed. And when you reconstruct it, we want that to be a minimum of 6 feet if it's going to be staying along the curb like that. So I think it's a little narrow right now. So yeah, we would like to see a wide sidewalk, basically. I mean, even if you could get a little wider, it'd be great, just because it's, you know, now in front of a grocery store. You know, so we would expect a little bit more curbside activity with that. And then I would think about, if you're going to be putting in that rear parking lot, you know, some kind of, you know, I would think maybe you're doing that for employees only, perhaps, but you know,
Yes.
you would kind of want maybe some kind of connection to the other parking lot. So you may not want to create too much conflict with the green infrastructure, because people are certainly going to be walking across that one way or another to get to the doors. I would expect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, picking up off that theme, before I do, I just want to begin that I want to commend the design of the structure. It's very compelling and definitely a market improvement over existing conditions. I will defer to Haley and Steven. Showing the rear parking lot is influencing I think every other committee members, but definitely mine, comments on this, due to the fact that we're seeing a loading space within a drive aisle, and I don't believe that's permitted by code. And so, you know, what I would recommend, I don't know the degree of feasibility, but it seems like you're setting up this rear parking lot to be sorry. So before I say that, you know, this again is another time I would introduce that seeing traffic circulation diagrams, turning radiuses, and just other diagrams on how you got to this site design is helpful for this committee, due to the fact that you're setting up the rear parking lot to be a more effective loading zone, right, for loading vehicles. And so, again, I don't know to the degree of feasibility, but that seems like it would be much, I feel, in my opinion, that it would make the project more effective, because you are co-locating both customer and service vehicle kind of traffic and circulation, and I just don't know about that. It's not my area of expertise, but it is something that I am seeing here. And of course, I appreciate that there's some bike parking on the site. I would ask for more, but otherwise, very, very great submission thus far.
Sorry about the vacuum, but can this is really for for Andrew on your public right of way. I don't see any public street trees, and I believe since this is commercially zoned now, you're required to have public street trees.
You go to the planting plan, I have them in there.
What sheet is that?
Oh, I guess they aren't technically public street trees because I have them straddling the property line. I put them in the GI instead of between the sidewalk and the curb, because I thought it would be better for the root systems.
It's probably better for the root system for those trees, but they don't count as public street trees.
I see.
So, you know, I mean, they're straddling the line, and we try to encourage either on-site or, you know, off-site. So maybe a combination of the both. Since there's no windows on the Marigny Street side, which kind of concerns me. I'm not sure if that's, if you have to have windows along that street just because of where it is. But, you know, maybe that's a good location to even have that double column, you know, kind of a alley of trees along there. And then
Are you concerned that that'll get overcrowded at all with the power lines as well?
Well, just small trees, not
okay.
big trees. And then
so 25 foot or one tree for every 25 feet, that size?
Right. Yeah,
okay.
that would be the calculation for the small tree.
Right.
And I think that's it. If you will, on your plans, really make sure that you show Because like for me to have to calculate it out, that's difficult. Just because I'm not 100% familiar with the project, right? So on your landscape plans and on your stormwater plans, make sure that you show that definition, show that clearly defined. This is the capacity that we're keeping on site, and we're just adding capacity in by using the public right of way because of the way the sidewalk's laid out. Okay.
Okay, I can add a column or a row to the chart that states
Yeah, just
that.
clarify what's being considered in the public right of way. And I mean, this fits in perfectly with the whole Gentilly Resiliency District. It's just a matter of making sure that, you know, that it's very clearly defined on your sheets what is public, what is private, and that and a notation that the, you know, Consecos will be maintaining all of it. It's not going to be for public maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say that we would, at Public Works, we'd be perfectly happy, might even prefer it, if you wanted to come off that corner with that sidewalk offset from the curb, you know, and then just put it with the property line. Basically, you put the, you know, you can put those street trees between the sidewalk and the curb. If Danny's okay with that, but we certainly don't need it to really keep it along the curb for any reason. So
Okay.
it might make more sense design wise for it to be set back.
That might require us to take out a few crepe myrtles that are in that space, I think.
There's crepe
I
myrtles.
gotta look at the plan, but there's like 3 crepe myrtles on Fillmore.
But those are private trees, not
They are?
public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just design. They're not actually there, right?
No, they're there.
No, they're there. They're
really?
in place. Yeah. And the reason why on Fillmore the sidewalk makes sense is because the public right of way is it's a skewed public right of way. If you look at the corner, it actually, for planting, it makes sense the way it's laid out right now with the sidewalk at the curb. So by using the back side of the sidewalk as the planting area, they can get some public trees in there without necessarily cutting into the sidewalk or anything.
Yeah, and I see why it's there. I'm just saying you could move the sidewalk. I mean, you could even have the sidewalk straddling the property line, you know, and that would just create more of a planting space for trees on, you know, against the curb if you wanted to go that way. And basically that sidewalk wouldn't need to be quite as wide if it's you know, if it's in the middle rather than against the curb.
What width would you want if we moved it versus 6 feet?
I think 5. I mean, I think 5 would be fine. Offset.
See, then Lewis, that gives us where the planting area is not quite as conducive to healthy tree root growth. So if we want to work with the planting,
I'm just worried that when we get to a better curbside width, we're going to be at a point where that tree can't be may not even fit in the public right of way. You know, so I'm thinking we'll have more. Overall, you'll have more grass shade.
Andrew or Scott, that sidewalk is shown at what, 6 feet right now?
I can look at it and I'll tell you in 1 second, but.
Yeah, because it's not going to make the 3 feet of tree planting strip width that we require for trees. So then they would have to cut tree wells. So it just makes it a whole lot easier if it's done like this, when you've got that weird curving right-of-way line that narrows going closer to the corner.
So it's shown as 5 feet, and most of that is existing to be left alone at the moment.
Yeah, I think the existing sidewalk, it looks to me like it's 4.5 or so.
Yeah.
Maybe even only 4, but it's against that.
Actually, you are right, because I measured the back of curb, so.
Yeah.
Or front of curb, rather.
Yeah, so it's really only 4 feet.
Yeah.
So to get up, to get up to code, basically, we would need a 6-foot sidewalk, so that's like another 2 feet there. So it's not going to leave any public right of way towards the corner.
Yeah, that would potentially make us have to remove those crepe myrtles anyway.
Well, yeah. So kind of what I'm getting at is that DPW would be okay with you even going a little across your property line to provide that kind of public accommodation sidewalk, and then then you'd be able to count those trees as public trees because they're in the we would be less strict about it basically about the public-private thing than the trees. It seems like, and we're going to take up less. There'd be less pavement overall, because it'd be 5 feet instead of 6.
Just for some clarification with the sidewalks, and we're talking about the sidewalk at Fillmore at the present time. What about the sidewalk at Marigny? Or do you also want to look at a 6-foot walk there, or because that's more of a residential zone, it seems like you want to keep it at the 4? Or
yeah, we try to go to 5 nowadays, but we would allow you to replace that in kind.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
Is that sidewalk going to have to accommodate shopping carts?
On the Marigny side, no, because we're trying to encourage all the parking and the shopping carts at the other side of the site.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we would. Yeah, we wouldn't want any shopping carts in the 4-foot problem.
And they're going to have
hopefully you can kind of lock them at the parking lot.
And they're going to have a locking system, the wheel locking system. So yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So that sounds sort of like a end of discussion for this one, and we can pick it back up after.
Just one quick question. I'm sorry to jump in. That on some of the design requirements, they had talked about a certain percentage of glazing at the front facade, and I wasn't sure if that was something that we had to talk about here, or is that a different review? But the half of the facade is supposed to be glass, and it's causing a lot of design challenges just with the grocery store, and I wasn't sure if that was something we can discuss here or not.
Okay, Valerie Goins is the CPC planner assigned to this case, and she will be able to provide you that design feedback and work with you.
Okay, thank you.
To resolve that. All righty. Okay, so this actually concludes the presentation of dockets. The committee will now recess for 5 minutes and resume at 11:11, at which time we'll consider public comment. Okay, the digital comment period is now closed. We will begin the consideration of dockets, including the public comment portion of the meeting. Joseph, did we receive any public comments?
None for no project, for all of the projects.
All righty. Okay, thank you. So item number 2 on today's agenda was the reconsideration of zoning docket 1521 for a property located at 4110 General DeGaulle Drive. Does the committee have any more comments, or are we ready to move to a motion?
I know, are the same provisos that we developed for the Chick-fil-A site going to apply for this one as well?
They're going to carry over from the last meeting.
Okay. Because this one there's still some site massaging that needs to happen, and in terms of traffic and pedestrian and street trees and landscaping. There's quite a bit of work that still has to be done on this. So I don't remember what the motion was before for the other one, but I'll make a motion subject to Parkway's review for street tree compliance. Approval for.
Okay.
I'll second the motion. This is Eleanor.
Okay, we have a motion by Parks and Parkways for approval subject to subsequent approval by Parks and Parkways for street trees. And we have a second by HDLC. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes. The third item is reconsideration of design review docket 15320 for a property located at 5212 Elysian Fields. This is the office building. Do we have any more committee discussion?
Who's the planner for this, Sabine?
Joanna Farr.
Joanna? Okay. So part of our discussion was talking about how to maybe reimagine the parking access in terms of vehicular access using existing driveways. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would say motion to approve, but subject to site considerations, working with the planner in terms of parking lot access and minimizing the impact to that public street tree.
Louis Kong seems to want to talk.
Oh, Louis, you're muted. Let's see.
Louis, can you unmute your line?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just, during the recess, I found this drawing. This is when we are doing the re-subdivisions. This is the one that was stamped by your office. I just emailed this drawing to Stephen, Joseph, and the staff on duty for this project. What is show, I enlarged the font by the street. I don't know, can you all see it? All right. This is the oak tree here. This is the existing condition. Here's the oak tree. Can you all see that? The oak tree? And there's two driveway there. They're existing. There are two driveway going into the two lots. Here's the pose. Here's the pose that they were talking about. This drawing was already emailed to Joseph, Stephen, and I believe Joanna, who is a staff on duty. So I am going to revive the driveway entrance using the two existing driveway. So hopefully that will cause a minimum impact to the oak tree in the middle. So we're going to redo the driveway according to what is existing there. Is okay with everybody?
Yep, that's basically what I just made the motion
I understand.
for. Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to comply with your request.
Yeah.
Okay. And we will
and
submit drawings. Yeah.
Just forewarning you, Lewis, those two signs that y'all have in the public right of way are illegal
Yeah,
and they need to be removed.
yeah, we are going to let the owner know. I didn't put it up. The owner put it up. I would let him know time to remove that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the
Okay,
project-
excuse me, that may be outside of the scope of the DAC right now, and we're actually in the middle of a motion, but thank you, Louis. So it's glad to see we're all on the same page. So we
Okay,
have a
thank you so much.
motion, we have a motion by Parks and Parkways to approve subject to site redesign to use the existing driveways. Do we have a second?
CPC will second.
We have a second by CPC. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes. The fourth item is the consideration of design review docket 00421 for a property located at 1008 North Peters Street. Does the committee have any more comments, or are we ready to move to a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second with just a reminder that they need to, oh, never mind. This is for the trash collection, right? Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval by HDLC and a second by Parks and Parkways. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes. The fifth item is the consideration of design review docket 00521 for a property at 5624 Ferret Street for Lusher High School. Is the committee ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the applicant submitting their tree protection plan to Parkways for a review and approval.
Danny, can we add just bike parking considerations to that motion?
Certainly. And bike parking considerations.
Okay, we have a motion by Parks and Parkways for approval, subject to final review by Parks and Parkways of the street trees and the provision of bicycle parking. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by HDLC. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? And the motion passes. The final and sixth item is the consideration of design review docket 00721 for a property located at 2221 Fillmore, which will be the future site of the Canasecos. Does the committee have any more comments, or are we ready to move to a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to clarification of public and private stormwater management data and the provision of public street trees.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval by Parks and Parkways and a second by HDLC.
Plus
Can I ask-
bike parking.
Actually, my amendment, I appreciate that. My amendment would also be to examine traffic circulation and loading and the vehicular loading provision.
Yep, that's, I think that's part of too of the CPC review process too. Who's the planner for that one?
Valerie.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Parks and Parkways for approval, subject to clarification of the public and private stormwater data and for an analysis of the traffic circulation, specifically in regards to the vehicular loading. And do we have a second by HDLC?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and the motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. See you next time.
Thank you.
Aye.